Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music. Mike and Marty on the beat. Mike and Marty. Mike and Marty.
Good morning, Bellows Falls and Keene, and welcome to The Feed with Mike and Marty. We're here with Jen from Parks Place today. We're going to be talking about something is turning 30. What
And
can
it's
it be?
not me, hard as that is to
Not
believe.
me
I'm
either.
sure it's not me either. Anyway,
Anywho,
first, Marty with local
yes,
events.
so that I can see my
Yes.
actual page. So at the Bellows Falls Opera House, the movie only on Sunday night will there be a movie, and it's still Lilo and Stitch. So if you didn't get to see it yet, you have one more chance Sunday evening. The classic movie this evening is Brokeback Mountain. That is sponsored by Wyndham Antiques. So the reason that there's no movies this weekend is because there's two events happening at the Opera House this weekend. On Friday, there's one of the Ash Wheelock concert series. This is Spring with Beethoven and the Schumanns. Doors open at 6:30. The show's at 7:30. And then on Saturday night, the 7th, 8084 with opener John Sullivan, will be reliving the 80s.
Yeah.
The doors open at 6:30. The show is at 7:30. The Ash Wheelock concert tickets are available if you go to the Opera House website and then click on to the Ash Wheelock link. You can get tickets there. I don't know if there's still tickets available because I didn't do that, but I know there are still tickets available to 8084 because that's right on the Opera House website.
Can I add something, Marty? We are
Yes.
also looking for volunteer ushers.
Yeah.
So if you're interested in seeing a show but can't get tickets, you do get to see the event for free. You have some duties, and you do have to stay for the whole show. But if you're interested, message us on Facebook or give me a call or email.
Yeah, and I'm actually, I saw your plea go out, and I'm actually I volunteered to usher for Saturday night, so I'll let you all know how it goes. I don't think it's terribly. I've ushered
No.
before. It's been quite a while, but
Well,
it's not.
What I like to say too is it's like taking the middle seat on an airplane, but you don't get a free ticket on that airplane, and you do with the Bellows Falls Opera House.
There you
So,
go.
I mean,
Perfect.
can't get any better there.
Can't get any better.
So, and that's it for local events.
That is
What
all
else
the
is
events.
happening this Saturday?
Boy, did I bring some gifts for you guys
Oh,
today.
awesome. So we should put our.
That's not it either. We've got this, and we've got
We got balloons.
All right.
Yay.
And I mean, you can't have a birthday party without hats,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So here we
All right.
go.
Look at that.
So
There we go.
someone or something is turning 30, and it's not me, and it's certainly not Julie. It is Parks Place. Parks Place is turning 30 years
gonna
old,
put this on
or
my
30
cup.
years young, I should say. So on June 7th at 2 o'clock, we're having a big birthday party bash right out front, just like where we have our back to school bash, so that area.
Kind of like a block party type thing.
Yes, exactly. Something for the community. All ages are welcome. We're going to have free pizza. There's going to be music. DJ Wade the Great is going to be there. So we're going to be dancing the day away. And of course, we can't have a birthday party without cake and ice cream.
Yes.
Nice.
So we're going to have cake, and we're going to have ice cream donated by Dairy Joy. So,
Oh,
yes.
pretty cool.
Yes. And actually, Troy Wonderly's going to be there as well. So he's going to be bringing some of his cool
Circus
stuff.
events, yeah.
Yeah. So he'll be there. And we're going to have a bounce house. So who doesn't love a bounce house? I mean, my knees don't love the bounce house,
True,
but I love the bounce house. So that will be there. And yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Sounds
What
good.
is it going to be like the cake at a certain time, or is it going to be cake all day long?
Yeah,
or
great
Is
question.
it going to be singing happy birthday?
Yeah, so we're gonna have pizza, and then we will be having the cake. So probably, a good half an hour maybe afterwards. So it's from 2 to 4. So we're gonna try to stretch it. There's also going to be a big banners. So if you want a backdrop, so if you want to get pictures done, Christy Lisa
nice,
is going to be
yeah.
there.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
wow.
Yeah. And Christy's great. So if you haven't gotten your pictures done by Christy, I mean, that's a must do if you live in the town of Bellas Falls. So, yeah, so we're gonna have the pizza, and then we're definitely sing happy birthday. So,
Okay. Good.
yeah.
Now, is somebody going to give is this an event where some people give like a little talk about Parks Place, or is this more just a celebration component?
Yeah, so we might have some people talk, maybe, give a couple speeches, nothing too long,
Right.
just to say, thank you to the community for supporting us, and that we still need community support. That's a huge one. We've been here for 30 years. We want to be here for 30 more. We all know that the landscape out there in terms of grants and things like that are changing, and
Yes.
it's, changing all the time. So, we still need our community to support us and to support their neighbors.
So will Barbara be there?
Barbara will be
Oh,
there.
that's-
Yes.
That'll be
yes.
good. Is she going to talk?
Hopefully,
Maybe.
yeah, hopefully. Barbara will be there. We have some other guests, so past board members, hopefully
Yeah.
will show up, our current board members. Barbara's, she's such an important part of Parks Place, obviously, for obvious reasons. So, just come out and hear a little bit about our history and meet some new faces.
So I was reading the article that was in the comments that Bob Smith did, and I can you, for the people that you can do one of two things: you can listen to us now, or you can go to the Commons website and see the article. But can you talk a little bit? I did not realize, I never knew where Parks Place came from. I didn't know that was the family name of the people.
Yes.
Yeah. So can you give a little overview of the history?
Yep. So Parks is actually the Park family. So they actually donated the house to us. So. That's where Parks Place came from. And on an interesting note, so if you look at our flyer, it's kind of shaped a little bit like
Monopoly.
the Monopoly Parks Place. The founders actually had to get permission from
To call it Parks Place.
but to use the picture. So
Oh.
yeah. So I thought that was kind of cool. And we found
That's
an
cool.
old metal sign, I guess, that they used to use before our wooden one that's out there now. That's really neat. It used to be on the side of the building, so we actually got that out. It's hanging up right now. But I just thought that was really cool that they actually reached out to.
It would have been Procter and Gamble, Milton Bradley. Right?
Yes,
Right,
yes,
right.
to actually get permission to do it. So I guess if I remember correctly, they did give us permission, but it had to be like a little bit, like not the same blue,
exactly.
but a
Not the
little bit different.
Not the proprietary blue. Probably, yeah.
Correct. But I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. I'd never made that connection either. I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
I just never knew where it came from. So I guess it makes sense. It's the Parks family and Parks Place.
And we still have connections with the daughter, so she still does give, and she still gets the newsletter, which is really cool.
Nice.
So, well, I didn't. As the local, with the Parks family, big in Bellas Falls.
I don't know.
Oh,
I really don't. I really this you got me on this
Yeah.
one. I don't know. Do you know?
I'm not entirely sure. I know that
Or they just happen to have that house and it happened to be next to the school, and that's kind of
right. That it was kind of serendipitous.
Kismet type thing,
Yeah,
yeah.
like it worked out perfectly that way. And obviously when
And
we
they were generous enough to give the house.
correct,
That's
and
amazing.
obviously
The
when
land.
we were founded and created, there was a connection with the school and Parks Place. So I mean, it was just worked out.
And I thought it was interesting too, the concept, which again I didn't. So I learned a lot of things. Thank you, Bob Smith. I didn't realize that there was a purpose other than, I mean, yes, the building was donated, but there was a purposeful intent in it being a home. So you want to speak to why?
Yes, yeah. So obviously, when you go into state buildings and hospitals, they look like state buildings and hospitals, right? Like you're walking into, right?
Yes,
Like
they do.
you're walking into kind of like a, I don't know if institution.
yeah.
It's the correct word, but Parks Place, they wanted it to be a home, so you felt comfortable walking in. You weren't walking through metal doors. You weren't walking, and it's definitely, if you've been there, hopefully everybody has been there and seen it, but we have a living room with couches. We have we have tables that look like dining room tables. We we have Julie, who, everybody knows Julie. We're very lucky, it's like home. It's like family. You come in and you're like, hey, where's Jen? Hey, where's Julie? What are you guys doing today? And it's that homey feeling, from the furniture, from the architecture of the building, to right down to the people who serve you.
Yeah.
So we're very lucky. Yeah, and we definitely try to keep it that way.
And you really respond to the public. Like,
Yeah.
Julie was supposed to be here today, right? And where is
Was.
she?
Yes, exactly. So I talked about a little bit last time I was here, but we have Walk-in Wednesdays, which again is another way for us to try to break that service barrier. We have Springfield Supported Housing there. We have Vermont Department of Labor. We have SEVCA that comes in the afternoon, and they all take walk-ins today. So again, they're there to answer your questions. You don't have to get on a waiting. I mean, you may have to get on one depending what you need,
Yeah.
but there's somebody that you can actually get your question answered, and that's what we wanted. And so that Wednesdays tend to be a busy day for us. And we were heading out the door, and all of a sudden, it was a miracle. Like the floodgates opened and people were coming in. And so Julie, fortunately had to miss today. So she's out there helping.
But that just demonstrates how committed to the community you
Absolutely.
are. You really, the community comes first. Everything
Absolutely.
else comes second, and
Yes.
here we are. And that's why we're celebrating 30 years of that sort of service. How many agencies actually either I don't want to say headquarter, but
Sure.
provide services out of Parks Place?
Yeah, everybody asks me this, and I really should have a number, because I really should count someday and have a number. But honestly, if you can think of a service, we have been working with them, or we've worked with them. We have full-time agencies, so we have Turning Point that are, I should also mention, they're all day, every day, Monday through Friday, taking walk-ins. So if you, if you wake up and you're like, I want to make a change, they're there for you. They have a wonderful team. We're so lucky to have them in our carriage house. But Turning Point's there. We have AA meetings there. We have Bob Pelosi, who is a private counselor. We have we have two other private counselors that work out of our building. Easter Seals, Springfield Supported Housing, like I said, they have a space. WNESU has a space. Greater Falls Connections has a space. So they're there. They don't always take walk-ins, but they do work out of our building. But then we have all these other agencies that, like Vermont Department of Labor, for example, they don't have a space, but they work out of our building. So if you have a provider, or you're working with a provider that may have an office in Springfield or Brattleboro, ask them if they could meet you in Bellows Falls, because that could always be an option.
And that helps with, it's probably easier for them to come to the person than sometimes for the person to get to them.
Absolutely.
Transportation wise.
And again, part of our mission.
Right,
Yep.
and that's because I think there still is a bit of a void in this area, but there certainly was a bigger void before, and that was part of the history of why it came to be, was that there was like a void of services.
Definitely.
Because most of them are Springfield or Brattleboro, like the actual institutional locations for them,
Right.
and then there was nothing happening here, and that's even 30 years ago, it probably was a challenge for a lot of people. Probably was more of a challenge because there wasn't the mover.
Right.
So it really was a
Absolutely.
challenge if you didn't have a car and you couldn't get to these services.
Yep. Transportation is a huge unmet need. It always really has been. And sometimes I feel like the state of Vermont doesn't. Sometimes I feel like they don't really get that, right? Like it's like we live in a beautiful state. It's beautiful, but towns are isolated, and to not recognize that as a need. I mean, we want people to have jobs. Well, we want people to be able to get food. We want people, to be able to get childcare. And when there's no transportation, or you don't have a vehicle, or you can't afford, I mean, if not having one, but then having one and having to register it and get your license
and put fuel in it,
and then all of the upkeep. Oh my goodness, all of the upkeep to a car. Like those things all add up. So. So it's still an unmet need. It has been, and it continues to be. there's agencies out there that are trying to address it, but it continues to be an issue.
So knowing the history of Parks Place and kind of the way that it's evolved, and this probably is a curveball question, I'm going to throw it anyway. What do you see? How do you see Parks Place moving forward, like for the next 30 years? Is it going to be kind of the same thing? Do you need to adapt? Do you need to, is it too hard to tell because we have to adapt on a dime now, right now with funding sources? They're not as potentially available as they were. I imagine that's been a bit of a pivot you've had to take. I know you're not directly funded, but a lot of your agencies are.
Yeah, correct. So, I mean, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head right there. We are adapting as we go. There always was and there always will be a need for donations, grants, things like that to keep us going. But things are changing all the time. One thing that I'm seeing as I'm writing grants is that grantors are becoming very strict with what they're looking for. So there always had been these things that you'd have to meet, like the area where you are and things like that, but they're just becoming more stricter. I can't remember off the top of my head, but a couple of years ago I wrote 30 grants, and it was like when I first got here and I was motivated, I was like, let's do this. And I think I only heard back from maybe 5 of them. So it's I think after COVID, I mean, nobody likes to hear that word, but I feel like in a sense we're still coming out of COVID, and things have changed, and it's I don't foresee it getting any easier. I think it's going to be one of those things where it's going to be harder before it gets easier.
Yeah, I think that the biggest change is the need. I think the need exponentially went up after COVID.
Yes.
I think that there was, there's just some things that changed drastically, and then the need. But the problem is the sources to fill the need did not expand.
Correct.
So now you have much more need, same amount of sources.
Right.
So they're making you be, they're getting very specific and certain guidelines, and you can only use it for this, and maybe that's not something that you do. So that's like, okay, that one I can't do. So it's complicated.
And Parks Place is interesting in that, a lot of other agencies can build programs around those grants. But it's only Julie and I. So when we're running the day-to-day, we can't also run a lot of different programs. So, that's also a piece that I don't think people think about, that
because
it's challenging.
You don't provide, trust me, I know what you speak of. You don't provide the actual services.
Yes.
You provide the location for the services to happen. You provide the structure.
Yes.
And that there's not much grant money available for that type of entity. That's why it is important. That's why I'm looking directly at the camera right now. It is important, the donations, the sponsorships, which I don't know if you want to talk about sponsors for this after I finish my soliloquy, but the sponsorships, the private donations, the thing that is actually coming back into vogue is the idea of estate planning and leaving some money in a trust for entities like that used to be the thing back in the day. That's how Greater Rocky Mary Services that's helped us. So there's that option, but it is really important because the nature of people, they're granting agencies are more looking for programming. That can show we served XYZ people. This was the exact outcome. You can show XYZ people, but you might not. It's harder for you to measure the exact outcomes because it's in such a wider range of things. So.
Yes, and I do have to say we have many positive things, but one of them is that we have a lot of businesses and a lot of individuals that are. I don't know if you call them Bellows-Fallsians or what you would call them, but who support us and are committed to seeing Parks Place last for another 30 years. As you can tell, I come on here, often with our events and things like that, and you'll be able to see that it's consistently the same businesses that support us because they know our mission, they believe in it, and we can't thank them enough. So that's Edward Jones, Silver Forest, Savings Bank of Walpole, Dairy Joy, Halliday's Harvest Barn, 802 Credit Union, and Chroma. So those are all huge businesses that continue year after year. I go to them and I say, hey, we're doing this event for the community, and they have no problem saying, yep, like, how much do you need? What can I do for you? So, again, we couldn't be where we're at, obviously, without the community.
Without the community. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And sometimes in regard to need, do you also need sweat equity as opposed to, like, say somebody really doesn't have the funds to donate? Do you have sometimes, because it is a house.
It is a
you
house,
own a
yes.
house. You don't have a maintenance
Absolutely.
person.
Correct.
Are there projects that you have that come up occasionally where you just need manpower?
Absolutely. Our biggest need right now is we have some rotting boards on the house. Obviously, the house is a Victorian, so it's got some age to it. She's beautiful, but she definitely needs some work. So the Rotary has been great helping us whenever we need it. They come in, they replace boards and things like that. But we are eventually going to need bigger structural projects done to the house. So right now, we always need, we always could use people to help rake, and we do have wonderful gardeners. So thank you to my volunteer gardeners. They are wonderful. But raking, little things like cleaning the diaper bank area. I also have two wonderful volunteers who come throughout the week and clean our bathrooms for us. So that's, I think, them as well. But, so we could always use things like that. But if you do have any carpentry skills and, are just looking for a project, I will gladly accept the challenge, and I will
find one for you.
Yes, and I will take it on.
People sometimes don't think of that when they're thinking, how can they give back to their community? They don't think that it doesn't always have to involve money. Sometimes it just involves showing up.
Absolutely.
And helping out.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I'll throw that out there.
Yeah.
So what do you see? I think we probably asked you this last time. What do you see is still the biggest consistent need? I mean, you mentioned transportation. Is there another one that's really foremost in your mind with the people that come through?
I mean, housing obviously is still a huge need. Transportation is the biggest. I also feel like we have a huge childcare issue going on, especially in southern Vermont, especially in this area. So I'm part of the childcare coalition, so we are having conversations around that. But childcare, transportation, summer, I guess childcare around like summertime, that's a huge one.
Because they're, the YMCA still has their camp, but that's a limited amount of kids that can
that's
go.
all full.
It's all full.
That's all full
I think
right
it's
now.
full right from the get-go, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's,
And it's very expensive. It's very expensive childcare. Well, camps are very expensive right now, summer camps. I think there's ones that charge about $300 and something a week per child right now. So we do have some wonderful ones. Main Street Arts has an opening. Twin Falls Training Camp, I think, has some openings as well. But summer camps are hard. Yeah, I mean, I think those are our top. We still have some people calling for food insecurity.
Diapers or diapers still? Is that a constant need?
Yes, actually, we do have somebody who has been very generous donating to us, but we definitely could use pull-ups, and we are out of wipes right now. So always a need.
And I think on your website, if it works, you click on your website, diapers, and it shoots you right to
Yes,
Amazon.
to
So you
Amazon,
literally don't have
yes.
to search it on Amazon and the
Yes.
sizes that you need, and you can just click and place your order. It's that
Yes,
simple?
it's
Okay.
that
I just
simple.
want to make sure it truly was that simple.
Yes.
As opposed to going to Amazon, searching, and the whole bit.
Yes.
But, so they've made it very easy for you folks.
Absolutely. You don't even have to ask what size. All the sizes are already in there. So, yes, diapers, especially pull-ups right now, are a huge need. And we, that's another thing we've noticed too, that other organizations used to donate in like big quantities, and we actually haven't gotten a donation
Right,
from
there
those.
used to be more of a big entity that came in and divvied out to the little entities, and now the little entities are like, nope, sorry, on your own.
Exactly.
I mean, not harsh. I mean, that sounded harsh, but kind of the gist of it.
Right. And the funding got
Those
got cut.
entities got cut, right?
And we got chatting so much that we have about 50 seconds.
wow,
We have about 50 seconds. So
Yeah.
just remind everybody
Yes,
about
back
this.
to the-
Back to
Oh,
the
Park
yes.
Place
Park
is
Place.
turning 30.
Yes, turning 30. on Saturday at 2 o'clock. Please join us. We are going to have so much fun. It's going to be a blast. If it does rain,
Bring an umbrella.
bring an umbrella, but also stay posted, because if it's a lot of rain, we might have to change it up. But for as of right now, we are still on for Saturday at
Perfect.
2 o'clock.
All right, we'll
All
see
right,
you there.
well, happy birthday. See you next week, community.
Local news, politics, business, sports, arts, music.